Hi, you guys. It is Thursday morning, and I'm on my way to work. I had a great morning so far. A girlfriend of mine we went running this morning, and so it was really fun. I'm glad that I was able to do it. You know, we've been trying to get together and run together and stuff, but it's been a little bit of a challenge. But we got to go running together this morning, so that was really good. And we'll probably try to do it like a couple of times a week. So, you know, Tommy runs almost like every day, but and I run with him on Saturday mornings, but now I'm trying to do a little bit more running myself. So yeah, and oh, by the way, if you're wondering what lip color I'm wearing, it's a little bit of a combination. I'm wearing Vino lip liner from MAC, Heroin lipstick from MAC, which was from an older collection like a couple months ago, and it's a matte textured lipstick. And then I have Sochu on top of it, which is like kind of an orangey lipstick color. So yeah, so that's what I'm wearing on my lips. But really, I wanted to share with you guys just some thoughts that I was having about marriage. And Tommy and I have been reading this book called, I think it's called like Marriage That Lasts. Talks about like grace in marriage. So we're taking a class at our church. That's a marriage class, and the book that we're reading is really good. And I think the biggest thing I wanted to share with you guys is just that I'm learning a lot about the different roles in marriage. You know, what is the role of the husband? What is the role of the wife? And when we're talking about roles, it's not like, okay, the wife cooks and cleans and the husband works and brings home the bacon and, you know, changes the oil on the car. Not like that. We're talking about, biblically speaking, you know, what the different roles are and what does God call you to in your marriage. So one thing that I'm realizing that I really hadn't really been thinking about as much, or hadn't been as sensitive to, is my role as Tommy's helper, as well as my role as his not sure how to describe it, but the book talks about you being his helper, and this whole idea of submission. Ladies, let me tell you, this submission thing is no joke. And it's so crazy because when you think of submission in its very Webster dictionary meaning, to me at least, like for face value, it can seem so like, wow, submit. Just submit. It seems harsh a little bit, I gotta be honest. It seems a little harsh, and it can seem almost like you're relinquishing your rights. But truthfully speaking, I'm learning that submission means protection. You know, that Tommy is my husband. He's the leader of our household. And my submission to him is, like it says in the Bible, it talks about submitting to your husband and respecting your husband out of reverence to Christ. So it's like my submitting to him is not because Tommy's a great man and he is just the best. No, because he's human. He makes mistakes and things like that. But I submit to him out of my reverence and out of my respect for God, and the respect of the role that God has placed Tommy in my life as my husband, as my leader. So I'm just learning that submitting to him is, one, out of my protection, two, that I can trust that he's being led by God, that he's seeking God on a regular basis, and his relationship with God is growing, and that's where his leadership is coming from. It's not out of his own, his own feelings and his own mind. I mean, yes, there's some of that in there, but at the same time, I know that he's being fed, and I know that he's being held accountable by other people, in his life. So that submitting is really huge. The other thing I learned is just that sometimes you have to just trust your husband. I mean, you should be trusting him all the time, but trusting even though you can't see, even though it looks like, ooh, that may not be a good decision, or you think you could do it better, or, just not criticizing. The book talks a lot about looking at the things that your husband is doing that is great, and admonishing him for those things, acknowledging those things, as opposed to just looking at the things that he's not. Easier said than done, but I did it the other day. I was really trying to be really aware of my words and the things that I say, especially because I've noticed a lot with men, and even talking with other girlfriends, that men are very, they can be very practical. For a lot of men are very practical, and this is where it comes down to not just taking, okay, men are like this, women are like that. There's a little bit of truth in that, but we know that there's room for discrepancy. But for the most part, I feel like most men are very practical. I also feel like most men are very word conscious. If they say this, then they mean this. Whereas women, we can say something and mean something completely different, or say something and it's just surfacey. Whereas men, they take that word and that is what it is. So, I don't remember where I was going with this. So yes, so just being, as a wife, being very aware of your words, when you're talking to your husband, or when you're talking to your fiance, or your boyfriend, or your dad, or your brother, or whatever, because men are very different in that way. Like women, we can just kind of ramble off sometimes, and have a good old conversation and never even stop to take a breath or think that there is anything wrong with that. But with men, you really do have to count your words. Your words do matter. I can't remember what the statistics say, in that women use like more than 2,000 more words a day or something than men. Clearly, you hear me running my mouth a lot more on this channel than you do Tommy. But then there's also personality differences that come into play there. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that. It's been a good book. I really recommend it. I'll make sure I'll put a link, I'll put the name of the book in the video so you can see it, so that you can read it if you're interested. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Everything else is going well this morning. Feeling really good. We don't really have anything special planned for this week, for this weekend, so we're just kind of chilling. See you guys later. Bye.